Good evening. Welcome to the Town Council and Parking Authority meeting for February the 6th, 2012. I'd like calling the meeting to order and ask for the call of the roll, please.
Councilmember Stephen Leonardis.
Here.
Councilmember Diane McNutt. Here. Councilmember Joe Przinski.
Here.
Vice Mayor Barbara Spector.
Here.
Mayor Steve Rice.
Here. In keeping with our tradition of having a future leader lead us in the Pledge of the Flag, I'd like to introduce you to Annalise Escudero, a fourth grader at Blossom Hill Elementary School. She really enjoys school. She enjoys choir and stage performance. And she's currently starring in the school play, Gone with the Breeze. Her community service includes participating in Vasona cleanup days with the Boy Scouts. She enjoys swimming, horseback riding. I didn't see it, okay. was waiting for Pamela to cheer. There you go. Gymnastics and running with Girls on the Run, which is a program geared towards helping girls feel good about who they are physically, emotionally, and socially. The girls train at the school twice a week for a 5K run and walk to be held on Saturday, May 19th in Vasona Park. And she's also on the Polar Bear swim team. She loves animals, likes to do arts and crafts and knitting. Her favorite holiday is Christmas. And she attended the California Senate inaugural in December of 2010, and she walked on the Senate and Assembly floors in Sacramento. Clearly you didn't infuse them with any good sense, but we appreciate that. Please join Annalise in the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A big hand for Annalise. And one more time, a big round of applause. We have no closed session report this evening. If you wish to speak this evening on any item that's on our agenda or during verbal communications, I'll ask that you fill out one of these buff-colored cards that's in the bench in front of you and turn it in to our clerk on my left, your right, and we'll get to those in a couple of minutes. We're going to go to council and manager matters. Anybody on the council have anything? Manager matters.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, 3 items before Did You Know? First, 12-year veteran Captain Elena Forrest is retiring in a week and a half. You met her successor, previously Sergeant, now Captain Matt Frisbee at your last meeting. And although Elena can't be with us here tonight because she's taking the evening off before she starts her last week of work, we did want to recognize and call her out for her exceptional performance to the town of Los Gatos, the council, the entire management team, and most importantly, to the community of Los Gatos for her 12 years of dedicated service. And we wanted to acknowledge her. And her chief, Scott Seaman, will pass her well wishes on from the council to her as she starts her final week with the town. Second, as was recently reported and shared with the council at your strategic planning retreat a week and a half ago, the town budget challenge that was shared with boards and commissioners for next year of $4 million has been reduced to a $1.8 million challenge that the council is already starting to deal with through your strategic priorities and goals and your budget priorities session. That reduction of over $2 million was due to the restoration of Netflix sales tax dollars, other cost decreases, and other revenue increases, leaving us with a challenge for next year roughly equivalent to what we've faced each of the last 3 years as well. Last, per a council direction a year ago through your emergency preparedness efforts, we are now completing the posting of evacuation route signs, previously for wildland fire and now for flood evacuation, and we'll be starting a public communication and education program over the next several weeks. Tonight's Did You Know cannot be more timely with the opening of the library this coming Saturday that all residents are invited to. And while staff is particularly pleased that this project is coming in on time and on budget, there's much more to be celebrated, and I'd like to call the longtime staff oversight of this project, Assistant Town Manager Pamela Jacobs, forward to provide tonight's Did You Know.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, ladies and gentlemen. Did you know, and you did because Greg just said it, that the grand opening for the new Los Gatos Public Library is this Saturday, February 11th at 10 a.m. in front of the new library. The ceremony will be fairly short but very sweet. We will have music, some remarks by the mayor, some special recognitions, and some not to be missed surprises. I want to repeat that. Some not to be missed surprises. Everyone attending will receive a commemorative gift that we're sure that you will all like. There'll be refreshments both inside the library and outside the library that day. Following the opening, we will have an entire weekend of activities that will showcase all of the special places in the new library. We'll have well-known authors such as Thomas Steinbeck, the son of the late John Steinbeck, graphic novelist Kazu Kibuishi, storyteller Diane Ferlati, and much more. You can check out the town's website for a list of all the special activities. For the folks in the audience here tonight, there's a list of the activities in the lobby. Or everyone can see a list of the activities in tomorrow's special commemorative pull-out section in the Weekly Times. On a logistical note, I would like to advise everyone that we will be closing the main Civic Center parking lots adjacent to the library, as well as Villa, so we can ensure the safety of the great crowd that we expect. So if you are planning on coming, and we do hope that everyone is coming to this great event, we ask that you please carpool, walk from home if you're close enough, or plan to walk from somewhere in the downtown or maybe the high school, because parking is going to be in great demand, and we are expecting a lovely day, so the walk should be a nice one. KCAT will be filming the opening, and it'll be later broadcast so that you can relive the wonder of this momentous event in Los Gatos. I want to say congratulations to the Los Gatos community for your brilliant new library.
A part of that library celebration will be a first to enter contest that we've been running for the last few weeks. And Pamela has the box of all those that entered. There will be 5 children chosen to be the first to enter. And what I'd like each council member to do is draw a name, read the name and the age, and then we will contact the children whose names are drawn, so that they can be the first to enter our new library. Handwriting was optional.
The first lucky contestant is Whitney, and I believe the last name is Hanson. Age 8.
Congratulations, Whitney.
Ashley Gold, age 5.
Whoa.
She's always going to remember this, yeah.
Charles Douglas, age 12.
Aaron Zola, age 7.
And the last name?
There are going to be about 9,000 kids out there wondering if they're going to get the last one. Katie Douglas, age 9.
Do you want to collect these?
Pass the names to the clerk. That would be great. Thank you, Pamela, for that presentation on the library opening.
congratulations to the 5 that will be the first to enter our new library. Next on the agenda is the consent calendar. Do we have any council members that wish to pull an item from the consent? I have one from the public that wishes to pull a consent item, item number 8. Any other consent items to be pulled by the public? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion on the consent calendar other than item 8. Vice Mayor.
Move to approve the consent calendar except item 8.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent calendar is approved with the exception of item 8. And we will go ahead and proceed to item 8 right now and do that before we get to verbal communications. And I have one card, which is Lee Quintana.
Good evening. Lee Quintana, 5 Palm Avenue. I just want to make one very short statement. I've submitted a desk item, which I assume you have read. And my comment relates to comments made by the town's attorney and the attorney for the applicant at the last council meeting that I think had some misleading information. And so I would just like to read one paragraph from one of the many blogs that on CEQA and land use that I pulled up from the internet, and as well mention that this information was also as a footnote to the actual court case that was referenced. And it says, the court held that local governments could provide density bonuses above and beyond what the density bonus law requires, regardless of whether the local government has adopted a separate ordinance to allow such bonuses. However, Government Code 65915N has now been amended to require cities or counties to first adopt an ordinance allowing increases beyond the statutory minimum before they can do so. And I think that was what was at issue last week, or one of the things that was at issue. Thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Quintana? Seeing none. Any comments or questions? Mr. Brzezinski.
I'll move to approve item 8, the plan development application PD 10001, and all the aligned information relative to that.
Vice Mayor.
I have a question, but maybe we'll wait to see if there's a second.
Okay, let's see if there's a second. Well, I'll second it, so go right ahead.
Is there any response from staff relating to the new information we received from Ms. Quintana?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Staff has reviewed the letter that was received late this afternoon. And upon review, it does not appear to include any new facts for the Council's consideration tonight. Staff contends that the issues were raised and addressed at the prior meetings on this project. And if Council desires, the applicant is here and could also respond if they desire.
Any further discussion? Questions? All right, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We're going to move on to verbal communications. This is for anyone to speak on an item not on tonight's agenda, and the time limit will be 3 minutes. And we have the first card is Heather Dal Cielo.
Good evening. My name is Heather Dalcello, and I live at 209 Marchmont Drive here in Los Gatos. I'm here tonight to speak about the proposed expansion of Hillbrook School from 315 students to 414. The head of school recently invited neighbors within a short distance of the school to a meeting at Hillbrook. I naively thought it was to discuss possible solutions, as I was aware they were considering applying for an increase to the conditional use permit, or CUP. However, it was simply a meeting where the head of school told us what would be happening, almost as if it had already been approved. He was not open to suggestions that were given by neighbors and appeared, from my perspective, to be a check-the-box exercise. I expected a more reasonable approach and to at least broach the topic of compromise, but no such discussions took place. I left the meeting feeling as though the neighbors were being viewed as insignificant factors in this process. The current plan in place creates a win-lose approach, with Hillbrook gaining significantly and the neighbors losing. I was hoping for something more collaborative. I am opposed to this expansion for many reasons, but most importantly, because of the safety issue this proposal would present to the children in our community, including my own. I believe the benefit to Hillbrook schools should not outweigh the detriment this would result in for Los Gatos residents. I also believe that the current CUP is already extending the bounds of what is safe, and any increase would push beyond the limits of what should be deemed reasonable. When considering the purchase of our home on Marchmont, we did our due diligence by watching traffic during peak school hours and talking with a neighbor. Overall, we felt the situation would be manageable. Last summer, when Hillbrook had a summer school program that enrolled a significant number of students and increased the traffic to an unmanageable level, I started to notice there was a much larger problem. I believe last summer was a snapshot of what we will experience if Hillbrook is allowed to continue its path of being disrespectful and disregarding the obligation they have to the neighbors on Marchmont and the surrounding areas. Currently, Hillbrook is significantly impacting our access to the road already. In the mornings, there is a constant stream of traffic in both directions, and our streets do not have sidewalks. It often gets to the point where it is difficult to back out of your own driveway to take our kids to school. The integrity of the school is also called into question when the school is well aware it made promises on record about a decade ago that it would not seek to expand. The response has been a "that was then" approach, but this should be more deeply considered when, from the neighborhood perspective, it was a good faith effort at that time on behalf of the neighbors to work with Hillbrook, weighing the impact on the neighborhood and agreeing to the conditions. At this time, we ask Hillbrook to take those same considerations. This increase, if approved, would have a significant negative impact on the community. The neighborhood simply does not have the resources to accommodate this type of change. At what point do we set the limit? There is an increasing need to establish that enough is enough. Thank you.
Perfect timing. That was really good. Question for you, please. Ms. McNutt.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, not a question for you. I was wondering if it'd be helpful for staff to just review where we are in the process and what the steps are in terms of public hearings coming up.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, there is a pending application for a modification to the Hillbrook CUP. That matter has not yet been heard by the Planning Commission. The council is prohibited from taking any other action on that matter tonight, both because of state law, given that the item is not agendized, and pending Planning Commission review and action.
Okay, thank you. Is that it? Next is Barbara Dodson.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Dodson, and I live at 239 Marchmont Drive. I would like to call attention to the traffic problems that face the neighborhood around Hillbrook School. Traffic has been a continuous problem in the neighborhood for many years, and Hillbrook is the source of much of this traffic. This traffic is dangerous. Local children attend nearby schools, Blossom Hill, Van Meter, and Fisher. Drop-off times at Hillbrook and these schools are very close. This puts traffic and children's safety on a collision course every morning. Neighborhood children want to walk, bike, or scooter to school, but parents are afraid to allow this. The afternoon also has problems. The current CUP calls on Hillbrook to isolate its pickup to a peak period of 2:30 to 3:45. For the past 3 years, since a new head of school has taken over, traffic has continued nonstop throughout the afternoon, way beyond 3:45. Children must navigate through traffic that's not even supposed to be there. I mention all this because Hillbrook is now applying to the Planning Commission to allow for an enrollment increase of about 32% and permission to increase traffic caps. And I anticipate that this issue will eventually reach Town Council. The Hillbrook traffic issue is not new. Council members probably remember it was a source of contention in 2001, and even then the issue was not resolved to the neighborhood's satisfaction. At that time, Hillbrook asked to expand its facilities. Residents were concerned that expansion would lead to increased enrollment and increased traffic. Then head of school Sarah Bain wrote to the Planning Commission with assurances that the school would not increase its student body. She wrote, "There has been continued suggestion that the school's master plan indicates its interest in increasing its population. The next sentence was bold-faced and underlined. At no point has Hillbrook ever requested a change in its conditional use permit, which limits the school's population to 315. Ms. Bain repeated this assurance at many town meetings. The town approved a new CUP with the understanding that the school would not increase enrollment. When reminded of this, Hillbrook has responded that times change. However, nothing has changed in the neighborhood. If anything, there are more children in the neighborhood now than in 2001. The neighborhood is even less able now than in 2001 to absorb any increase in traffic. This was dramatically evident this past summer when, in violation of the CUP, Hillbrook allowed a large private summer camp to use its facilities. Although the CUP gives Hillbrook a clear drop-off and pickup times and clearly indicates that large amounts of traffic are not permitted at other times, the school told parents they could drop off and pick up their children at any time. Further, the head of school allowed 900 students on campus, way above the CUP cap of 315. The neighborhood was inundated with cars all day long. Hillbrook already has plans to violate the CUP this coming summer, with summer programs planned to begin at 9 a.m. outside the agreed-on drop-off period. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Any questions? Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor, just to add to my prior comments, the neighborhood and traffic concerns raised by Ms. Dalciello and Ms. Dotson is the sort of information that staff gathers and presents to the Planning Commission when they first hear any case that comes before them for consideration.
Thank you. Thank you again. And Jonathan Knowles.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. I'm here this evening to speak to you a little bit about one of our largest constituencies here in Los Gatos, and that would be our dogs. I think you all know that of our approximately 12,500 households, there are approximately, conservatively, 9,000 dogs in our ironically named town. There are many of us who believe that responsible dog ownership is not only important, but actually good for Los Gatos. We're known as being a dog-friendly community. Most of our shops in town are. Our restaurants that all have outdoor seating are. They even serve water and goodies at many of them. And I think we're proud of that. But we do have something that I'm here tonight to ask you that I believe is important and needs to be addressed, and that is very specifically to get on the agenda with council what we can do about off-leash activities for dogs in our parks. More and more, this is bubbling up as an issue elsewhere, not just here in Los Gatos. San Carlos has recently adopted some interesting things in their town with regards to off-leash activities. In San Francisco, of course, we've probably all read the story of the ranger who tased the guy at the Golden Gate National Park. It elevated, got emotional, and probably shouldn't have, but it's time that we step up and really think about what, from a shared use perspective, we can do for off-leash activities for dogs here in Los Gatos before we start to see any of these kind of things happen. The good news is that I believe that that something can be worked out. We just have to be thoughtful and responsible in our approach to do it. So again, very specifically, I speak on behalf of dozens of dog owners in town who were going to show up tonight and said, no, just you go and speak for us, requesting that you, the town council, put this on your agenda, encourage your Parks Commission to do the research, schedule community meetings, whatever needs to be done so that we can be as responsible as we should be with our loved pets. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knowles. And my understanding is that the Parks Commission has actually got this item on their agenda for tomorrow evening. Is that correct, Mr. Manager?
It is a scheduled item for tomorrow afternoon's meeting, I believe. What time does that start time? 6 p.m.
I think that qualifies as evening.
It does.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I'm going to ask that the off-leash dog issue be placed on the town council's agenda by the end of March.
Okay, well, I think I'm fine with putting it on the agenda. I want to make sure that the Parks Commission has their opportunity to do what they're doing with that. Is that satisfactory to the Vice Mayor, or?
Yes, as I understood what I think the speaker said, that's going to be tomorrow night. And I don't anticipate this agenda item will solve all of the issues, but it'll get the issue teed up. and allow us to start considering it.
Okay.
The speaker referenced community meetings. It's unlikely there would be any neighborhood or community meetings prior to the item coming back to council in March.
Okay, thank you. I'll go ahead and accept the Vice Mayor's request, and we'll try and get that agendized in March for the council.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you both.
Any other verbal communications? Last call? Any item not on tonight's agenda? Nobody's rushing to the podium? Okay, well, I'm going to switch podiums, so give me a moment, and I'll move down below. Well, it's my honor and pleasure to speak to the community tonight on behalf of the Town Council in the annual State of the Town Address. This is the time when we share with you our thoughts about how the town is doing and what challenges we see ahead. It is always a privilege to serve as mayor of Los Gatos, but I feel especially fortunate to be the mayor in 2012 because Los Gatos has so many reasons to celebrate at this moment in time. Los Gatos has always been a very special place with a rich history and an outstanding quality of life. The Valley has voted downtown Los Gatos as the best downtown for 10 years in a row. And I don't think I've met anyone from any neighborhood in town who doesn't say that they don't love living in this community. So we start this year in an enviable position. And during the next few months, we will complete 3 milestone projects that will add even more to the list of why Los Gatos is a great place to live, work, and raise a family. If tonight's speech had a title, it would be, Los Gatos has many reasons to celebrate. That is not to say that we don't have challenges ahead of us. We do. In the next few minutes, I'd like to share with you some of the issues and goals that are on the agenda for this year, as well as a little more information about the special celebrations in store for 2012. The foundation for providing municipal services to the community begins with the town budget. In one of those good news, bad news situations, we're going to get the bad news out of the way first. Like every other community in our region, state, and across the nation, Los Gatos has been affected by the economic upheaval of the Great Recession. For the past few years, our anticipated expenses have been more than our projected revenues. Through the exemplary efforts of town staff and council leadership, Los Gatos has been able to develop and approve a balanced budget without once dipping into our reserves. We have accomplished this through improved efficiencies, creative approaches to delivering services in new ways, partnerships with community organizations and volunteers, and the cooperation of our town employees who are working very hard to maintain their productivity with fewer resources. And they have done this with reduced paychecks as the result of furloughs during the year at times when we believed closure of town offices would have the least impact on the community. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to all of our town employees for the commitment they demonstrate every day to providing excellent service to our residents and businesses. They're all over there. Thank you. At our council retreat 2 weeks ago, the council considered a long list of potential budget cutbacks and put them in priority order in anticipation of another budget shortfall for the fiscal year 2012-2013. It was hard work because no one wants to reduce or eliminate any of the services, but we did it, and we are now better prepared for budget discussions that will come in May. Beyond the impact of reduced revenues from a volatile economy and a recession that just won't go away, the fiscal picture for Los Gatos was also negatively impacted by the dissolution of redevelopment agencies. Our redevelopment agency was formed after the Loma Prieta earthquake to help rebuild our community. It has been a valuable tool for us in repairing and improving infrastructure, in adding parking capacity downtown, in revitalizing Plaza Park, in building our new library, and encouraging investments by businesses and developers. On February 1st, our Redevelopment Agency went away, along with the RDAs of 400 other cities in the state. There are still many questions to be resolved and details to be worked out, and we will keep the community informed as new information comes to light. One of those questions is how Los Gatos will be able to fulfill its commitment to affordable housing without the use of RDA affordable housing funds. I can't provide the answer to that tonight, but I can tell you that the council has continuously reaffirmed its commitment to providing affordable housing opportunities to our residents, and we look for innovative ways to achieve this goal. Now, I promised good news when talking about the budget, so here it is. Despite the Great Recession, despite multiple years of declining revenues, despite rising costs that are beyond our control, the town of Los Gatos' financial situation is good. Conservative and prudent fiscal management has balanced our budget every year and kept healthy reserves in place. And we believe we have done this with minimal disruptive impact to the community. The second major agenda item we tackled at the council retreat was reviewing our strategic goals and staff work plan for achieving these goals. There are about 24 goals that, in addition to ongoing core services, support our town's 6 core values: preserving community character, providing good governance, maintaining fiscal stability, providing quality public facilities and infrastructure, fostering civic enrichment, and ensuring public safety. Later this month, the council will finalize the strategic goals document, and I invite all of you to take a few moments to review the one-page summary and to become more familiar with the work we have ahead of us. I especially would like to call your attention to a few strategic goals that will be particularly challenging. By now, I think everyone in Los Gatos is aware of the work underway to develop a North 40 specific plan for the last large undeveloped area of our town, the family-owned orchard roughly bounded by Lark Avenue, Highways 17 and 85, and Los Gatos Boulevard. We have about 30,000 people living in Los Gatos, and I sometimes suspect that there are about 30,000 ideas for how this land should be used. Our job in the specific plan is to lay out a vision that reflects our community's values and priorities and will provide a clear and fair guidance to property owners and developers as they consider what they would like to propose. The North 40 specific plan process has been underway for more than a year, and one goal is to complete that plan in the coming months. Another important document that will be worked on this year is an update of the Los Gatos Boulevard Plan. 2 years ago, the council looked at the Boulevard Plan that was first created in 1997 and said its basic principles have not changed. But we do believe the Boulevard Plan needs to be updated to take into account changes that have occurred since it was first written, such as the new business models for auto dealerships that have moved many of our dealerships out of town. Perhaps the most difficult strategic goal we have ahead of us is determining an ongoing source of funding for infrastructure maintenance, such as street paving, sidewalk repair, retaining walls, and pedestrian and bicycle safety. This year, we were able to resurface 8.5 miles of residential streets with a budget of about $1.1 million. But we have a long way to go to get all of our streets in good repair and to keep them that way. The Almond Grove Historic Neighborhood alone is estimated to need an investment of almost $20 million. We cannot look to the state or federal government for money, so we must research and consider options for how to fund these important infrastructure projects on our own. Now, on to the special celebrations we have in store for us in 2012. As you've heard, this Saturday, February 11th, is going to be one of the most exciting days in Los Gatos history. At 10 a.m., we will have the grand opening of our new library. It is the first new public building we've constructed in 4 decades, and it is incredible. Delivered on time and within budget, the new library is a community masterpiece. The library will truly be a gathering place and a resource for lifelong learning for the community, for students, for adults, and for children. Everyone is going to find many things they'll love in the new library, and you will probably discover your own favorite place to read, study, think, write, or just relax. We have a special memory-making grand opening ceremony planned that you are not going to want to miss. 10 a.m. Saturday, bring your family, your friends, your neighbors, and be part of Los Gatos history. The opening program is followed by a full weekend of activities for all ages and interests. The grand opening of the new library is a perfect way to launch the Los Gatos Jubilee Year, honoring the town's 125th anniversary. Our town was incorporated August 10th, 1887. We have had a rich and interesting journey through those years, and the Jubilee Year will be the opportunity to become more familiar with our past and to celebrate our history. We are inviting service groups, the faith community, cultural groups, schools, nonprofits, and others to celebrate with us. In addition to the events these groups may hold throughout the year, the town will hold special celebrations as part of our July 4th event, Screen on the Green, and the Holiday Parade. And watch for information about a town-wide 125th anniversary celebration that will come in August. And if all that isn't enough, this year we will also be celebrating the opening of our new Creekside Sports Park and the renovated historic Pageant Grounds Park. Am I lucky to be mayor this year? I think so. One of my favorite quotes is often attributed to Thomas Jefferson. That government is best which is closest to the people. This quote speaks to the reason why I think serving the community as your mayor and council member is the best elected job there is. And in keeping with being close to the people, I am inviting the community to meet the mayor drop-in event at the new library on the 4th Saturday of each month during my tenure as mayor, beginning February 25th. Between 2 and 4 p.m., you can come by and talk with me about just about anything. The subject is your choice. I want to hear what questions you have, concerns, and ideas you have about the future of Los Gatos. And I wouldn't also mind hearing why you love living here. In closing, I'd like to acknowledge the commitment of my fellow council members, the hard work of town staff, and the contributions of our partners and volunteers to our favorite town. It's a Jubilee year for the town of Los Gatos, and I encourage all of you to begin the celebration with us this Saturday when we open our new library. It's going to continue all year long, and you'll appreciate why Los Gatos is the best place to live, work, visit, and raise a family. Thank you, and good evening. And our meeting is adjourned.